Welcome to another episode of Nac Edition. I'm your host, Wyatt McCann. Stick around for some upcoming news and events, an interview with Coach Ashley Whittemore from the SFA women's soccer team, and an interesting look on the food truck culture. Nac Edition starts right now. Drivers passing on US 59 near South Loop 224 will need to slow down as the work zone speed limit drops down to 45 miles per hour due to crews installing a concrete barrier that is part of a massive intersection reconfiguration. Lane closings are expected while the wall is placed near the Spradley Street intersection. Once the barrier is in place, traffic on US 59 will proceed as normal. The reduced speed limit will stay the same at 45 miles per hour from County Road 524 to Spradley Street. The barrier being created will protect motorists from the edge drop-off as well as workers in the area. Part of the Interstate 69 corridor will be open to traffic in 2023 with new main lanes and will directly connect traffic onto Loop 224 near State Highway 7, overpass at Spradley Street and Old Lufkin Road, and frontage roads between Highway 7 and Business 59. Plans call for I-69 to stretch more than 2,600 miles from Mexico to Canada, with an estimated 900 miles traversing Texas. SFA's Dean of the College of Fine Arts, Dr. A.C. Buddy Himes, is retiring after 47 years of service in both secondary and higher education. His retirement will go into effect at the end of the spring semester on May 31st. Himes was welcomed into the SFA family in 2007 to serve as the Fine Arts Dean, moving from the University of Louisiana at Lafayette, where he was the director of the School of Music. He was recognized for doubling the Fine Arts endowment base, creating a community-based organization dedicated to enhancing scholarships and attracting $1 million in grants. Following the same pattern here at SFA, Himes has guided the School of Arts, Music, and Theater to higher levels of achievement in his 14-year leadership. His greatest accomplishment at SFA is the current $50 million transformation and expansion of the Griffith Fine Arts Building. Himes has always strived to make SFA's College of Fine Arts the best program in Texas. Himes and his wife plan to stay active in the Nacogdoches community and enjoy their children and grandchildren. Now, let's take a look at what the SFA dietetics team is up to.
As a part of their training to be registered dietitians, students in Stephen F. Austin State University's Food, Nutrition, and Dietetics program explore the nutrition provision process in a simulated intensive care unit at SFA's DeWitt School of Nursing with help from Justin Pelham, clinical instructor in the School of Human Sciences. The simulation is designed to help them feel comfortable in a chaotic environment.
So after teaching medical nutrition therapy for my first year, I realized one of the things that was missing from the course was a hands-on experience. With a lot of red tape, with a lot of clinical sites, especially at the undergraduate level, I wanted to enhance that partnership and bridge that gap for our students' knowledge. So I was able to reach out to the School of Nursing and check out their facility with everything that they have. With this partnership, I was able to forge the surroundings with what would be simulated ICU settings so that students could still get that experience for what they would encounter at the next level in their dietetic internship. This class that is completed with the ICU simulation is NUTR, standing for Nutrition, 4379, Medical Nutrition Therapy 2. This class helps prepare our undergraduate dietetic students for their journey into the dietetic field. This helps set the foundation for the clinical setting. They're introduced to the nutrition care process. They're introduced to different forms of diets they may encounter in the hospital setting, nutrition support like tube feedings and IV nutrition, and numerous metabolic states such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, kidney issues, oncology, and many more to come. This sets the foundation, or as students have told me in past, it is like the meat and potatoes of dietetics.
Thank you, Autumn, for providing that great perspective on the SFA dietetics team. The Office of Multicultural Affairs hosted an event earlier this afternoon in recognition and celebration of Asian American and Pacific Islanders Heritage Month, a national holiday that takes place each May. The event was hosted to bring attention to acts of violence that have affected the Asian American community during this past year, as well as to honor the lives lost in many attacks. According to AsianPacificHeritage.gov, the month of May was chosen to commemorate the immigration of the first Japanese to the United States on May 7, 1843, and to mark the anniversary of the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad on May 10, 1869. The majority of the workers who laid the tracks were Chinese immigrants. A recent study by the Pew Research Center found that 58% of Asian adults say it's now more common for people to express racist or racially insensitive views about people who are Asian than it was before the COVID-19 outbreak. Now, let's continue to honor the victims of anti-Asian violence and push back against racism, sexism, and anti-Asian violence. With number of vaccinated Americans on the rise, students at SFA can look forward to some of their favorite traditions returning to campus. It was announced earlier this month that Jack Camp will be returning to its normal format this summer. In a regular semester, incoming freshmen have the opportunity to travel to Camp Olympia in Trinity, Texas, where they are first indoctrinated into all the traditions that Stephen F. Austin State University has to offer. After the spread of the COVID-19 virus, orientation and Jack Camp were combined in an effort to still help incoming freshmen get more acclimated to campus. Students who are interested in becoming counselors can fill out an application on sfasu.edu/jackcamp. Following a 6-4 fall football season, the SFA Lumberjacks, being only one of a handful of programs to play a full fall schedule at the FCS level of Division I, look to improve on the record in a new conference. They look to test themselves against themselves in the purple versus white spring game on April 24th. The spring game is tradition for almost all high school and college football programs all over the country, as it is a culmination of all the hard work they have put in during the off-season after the fall schedule was over. Stephen F. Austin and their fans can look forward to a game that closely resembles one against an actual opponent. There will be officials, scorekeeping, and a timed regulation game. The only difference is that it's SFA players versus SFA players. After 15 long practices, this is a chance for new players and backups to prove that they deserve a spot on the field next season, and it is sure to be as competitive as an actual contest against two schools. SFA and its community are sure to be excited, as this is the first spring game since 2019, as the last spring game was canceled due to COVID-19 last spring. Looking for a nice bike ride and support for a local cause at the same time? Sam J. has more info about the Rotary Club's Old Stone Fort Bike Ride this week.
Fort Bike Ride is coming up. The annual event is hosted by the Nac Edition Rotary Club and will take place on April 24th. This year, over 100 riders are expected to depart at U.S. Highway 59 and Old Tyler Road, a scenic route with good hills for riding. Those who signed up for the ride will be able to choose from 3 different routes, an 8.5, 25, and 63-mile route. The ride will begin here at the Nacogdoches County Expo Center at 8:30 a.m. Then, riders will depart down Northeast Stallings and continue up Old Tyler Road, following whichever route they registered for before making their way back to the finish line, where they will be greeted with food, beer, and local music. Chairman of the Old Stone Fort Bike Ride and member of the Nacogdoches Rotary Club, Ray Mitchum, has helped ensure that many safeguards are in place for riders. Local repair mechanics will be on site to help riders that might need assistance with their bikes.
Secure him, he's going to come out and be able to fine-tune, if you will, if you pop a tire or just need some air or whatever else.
This year will mark the return of the ride since the onset of the pandemic, as 2020's Stone Fort Bike Ride was canceled. There will be rest stops along the path, and riders will have access to support and gear vehicles along the way. And even though online registration has ended, there will be a pickup party at Nac Snack Friday the day before the ride, where those interested in participating can register and receive swag bags for the event.
They can register there, or they can come Saturday morning and register up until, like I said, 8:15. We'll start the ride at 8:30, and then we do not allow any riders to come in after 9 a.m.
All information and updates on the ride can be found at the Old Stone Fort Facebook page at facebook.com/Old Stone Fort Bicycle Ride. For Nac Edition, I'm Sam Johnson.
If you want to help out and have a nice bike ride, visit the Rotary Club's Facebook page. Stick around because next we'll get the chance to talk to Coach Whittemore for the SFA's soccer team and the team's season and plan for the future. Stay tuned after the break. Hello and welcome back to Nac Edition. I'm your host, Wyatt McCann. Joining me today in studio is SFA women's soccer coach Ashley Whittemore. Ashley, how are you doing today?
I'm great.
Yeah, me too. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions here. So with the soccer season having just ended, how are you feeling and how much of a roller coaster ride was it this season?
Yeah, it was quite the roller coaster ride. You know, like when the season ends, you never want it to really end. But it's got to end at some point. But, I mean, to be fair, I'm really proud of how we ended, and we ended up on a good note by winning the championship. And we played as hard as we possibly could all the way through the tournament. And it's sad that it ends, but I'm glad that we got to accomplish what we wanted to accomplish.
Absolutely. I heard that it was the first regular season Southland Conference title since 2015. Mm-hmm. Just how high were the emotions after accomplishing something like that between you and your players?
Very high. Very happy emotions for sure. It's something that we've been wanting to do. The players, they set a goal all the way last March. They wanted to win the Southland. It's been a hashtag. It's been, you know, on everything that we do, every paper that we send out, every, you know, announcement that we send out to the team. At the end, we put win the Southland. So it's been on our minds, and it's been something that they've been working really hard to do this whole entire season, and I'm really proud that they were able to accomplish that.
Absolutely. So growing up, what made you want to play or coach soccer, and were there any specific athletes that inspired you to you know, pursue the sport, playing it or coaching it?
Yeah, when I was young, just kind of like every kid, I played every sport. So soccer was one that stuck with me. I was pretty aggressive, I would have to admit. So and fast, and I like to run, so it was kind of like the perfect sport. I played all the way through high school, college, a little bit overseas after college, and after that, I really just loved the game. I loved how cultural it was and how it kind of brings literally the world together. So I really wanted to stay with it, and coaching was that pathway, and here I am today.
Yeah, I know coaching is, you know, a very incredible, you know, it's a skill to be able to coach somebody. You're teaching somebody. What are some traits that you're looking for in your players from a competitive standpoint, from a teammate standpoint?
I mean, character is everything for us when we're looking through players. Obviously, they have to have the athletic ability, but just their character, how they deal with adversity, how they cope with, you know, different ups and downs within the season, how they can work with a teammate, with their coaches, you know, listen to directions, stuff like that. So we definitely look at high character players and as a first attribute, but also, I mean, being at the Division I level, we have to look at, you know, other athletic abilities as well.
Absolutely. So I wanted to ask a question about the position of goalkeeper and sort of what goes into playing that position and the mental toughness that's required because you face adversity throughout the course of a game, and just sort of what goes into playing that position.
I mean, the goalkeeper is a very specialized position. It's the only position that you can use your hands. A lot of times almost all the time, they're the last line of defense. So when the ball gets to the goalkeeper, it's a big save. You know, they have to perform right on the spot. But mentally, they have to be very switched on all the time. They might not be involved in the game much at all, almost for the whole entire game until one moment when the ball comes down and they have to do a save. So the goalkeeper is very specialized. They have to be very, very tough, willing to sacrifice their body and face and everything like that to stop the ball from going in the back of the net. They have to run through players, sometimes their own players, to get to the ball. So it takes a special person to play goalkeeper.
Absolutely. Speaking of that special person, I did some looking at statistics and everything, and you guys have a senior goalkeeper named Madeline Talbot, correct? And saw that she had an 83% save percentage. So, how valuable is her to that team from a leadership standpoint, from a skill standpoint, and what were some of her moments this year that really stood out?
I mean, she's vital. A lot of times we talk about the spine of our team, and that starts with the goalkeeper in the middle and kind of works all the way up the middle. So as a senior, as a leader, being a very good player, she's very vocal. So she's a huge piece of our team as a team captain as well. So she's definitely one that's a bright star in our team, and she is one that we hope that our younger players look up to and try to be like her, because she's always working hard, trying to set the right example, that sort of thing. So, she's had some great saves, especially in the conference tournament. She came up with 2 big-time saves, even in the PK shootout as well. So we're very happy to have her.
Yeah, that 83% save percentage, I mean, that's really high, like to be able to reject goals, because you think about it and it's like the other team won't score if you do your job perfectly, and that's like the most valuable thing you can think of from a defensive standpoint. Were there, I know you guys are really competitive, and you guys, are there any games, any opponents that you guys just get a little bit more excited for than others? Are there any rivals you guys have that are just like you take it personally, like when you got to play them?
Yeah, Sam Houston is always a good rival for us, across the board in all the sports, really. Sam has been, a big rival, but in soccer, Lamar has been a rival for us just because they've won conference last year. They beat us out of the conference tournament last year as well, so it's kind of like a redemption thing for us, where it's, they beat us last year, and they beat us 6-2, so it wasn't the best of our games, but this year we were determined to not have that happen again.
You had to bounce back. So, what advice would you give to any undergrad or any girl that is interested in potentially playing for the Lady Jacks?
Just play as much as you can. Right now recruiting is kind of different due to COVID, so Absolutely. We need a lot of film just to see and play at the highest level you possibly can. Fitness is a big factor. I mean, it's a running sport. You're going to have to run for at least 90 minutes, maybe more. So, if you're wanting to come in as fit as you possibly can. We do have fitness standards and stuff like that, so whoever comes in needs to pass a fitness test. We have a technical test. But for those that are aspiring to play in college in general, really just getting your name out there, working as hard as you can, playing at the highest level you possibly can, getting as much film, to send to college coaches, stuff like that. So
is there any way for anyone interested in Lady Jack soccer to get involved? Are there any social media channels that people can follow?
I mean, you mean to play or just to watch?
Or to watch, anything.
Well, we have our website on the athletics website that has all of our stats, and it has links to all of our games that when we're playing games and stuff like that. It has all our news, updates, all that kind of stuff. So mainly, our website for sure is definitely a good place to go for information.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today, Coach Whittemore, about the SFA soccer team. Coming up next, we will take a deep dive into food truck culture here in Nac and its recent expansion this past year, as well as a brief history on National Tea Day. Don't miss out. You're watching Nac Edition.
Food trucks are becoming more and more prominent each year in Nacogdoches. We've seen a lot of food trucks open up and become more successful here in town. More on the story right here is Jose and myself. Welcome back to Nac Edition. My name is Wyatt McCann. Me and Jose are out on the town today in Nacogdoches, visiting with a variety of different food trucks, learning about not only the great food that they serve this community, but also how the food truck industry has been impacted in the last few years.
The food truck industry is one that has grown at a rapid pace during the last 10 years. And in Nacogdoches, Texas, things are no different. It begins with a drive down North Street or a drive through downtown. It becomes easy to spot food trucks from a variety of different backgrounds. And with food trucks in town that provide an assortment of different food items, spanning tacos, barbecue, Vietnamese food, Indian food, coffee, and snow cones, food trucks simply provide something for everyone. The food truck industry prides themselves on serving a variety of high-quality food items at an affordable price. And according to one statistic, the demographic most likely to order from a food truck is between the ages of 18 and 34. It's thanks in large part to this young demographic that food trucks here in Texas have become a part of the state's culture. And despite what some people may say, 90% of food truck customers walk away with a positive experience, according to the Mobile Cuisine. With the food truck industry ranging a wide variety of food styles, 33% of food truck owners have stated that the versatility of their businesses have allowed for more experimental and creative concepts with the types of food products that they serve. It's because of the mobility and the versatility that food truck businesses provide that the food truck industry has grown at a more rapid pace than the restaurant industry over the last handful of years, with the restaurant industry growing at 4.3% per year and the food truck industry growing at 5.4% per year, according to the foodtruckoperator.com.
Hello, Jose here. What's very interesting about food trucks is, well, they move around. This is especially good for business because it doesn't tie down the owners to a single location. You can find many of these food trucks around local businesses like banks, the brewery, and the distillery. Another great thing about food trucks is that they're basically restaurants on wheels, so you can get that real authentic taste along with it. But here's Wyatt with more on that.
I'll tell you what, you want a trip to Flavortown, you come down to Be Blessed Tacos. It's incredible down here. We got chicken tacos. We just had some beef tacos a little bit earlier. We got cilantro, we got chicken, corn tortillas. This is incredible. I mean, look at this. Look at this. We got 2 corn tortillas here, chicken. We got the spices. We got the salsa, the green salsa. It's tremendous. This is about culture. This is about, you want tacos, come to Nacogdoches.
Food trucks are becoming more and more popular everywhere, and even here in our small town of Nacogdoches, as you can see and as we've heard. But it's more than just the food. These businesses are adding to the culture of Nacogdoches and broadening the horizons of people's taste buds to exotic flavors, or maybe not so exotic. Something that makes you feel like sitting around a bonfire and listening to some good tunes. Speaking of good tunes and good food, the city of Nacogdoches will be hosting their upcoming Nac Snack Fridays this Friday, April 23rd. Food trucks will be lined up downtown, and later in the evening there will be live performances until 8 p.m. So come on down and support your local businesses and food trucks. For Nac Edition, Axum Jacks.
For more info, go to visit.nacogdoches.org. Sounds like a pretty decent Friday afternoon, if you ask me. Today is National Tea Day in the United Kingdom, not to be confused with spilling the tea, but it's a national holiday for the UK where everyone observes and celebrates drinking tea. The day was chosen because it's none other than Queen Elizabeth's birthday, so it doesn't get any more British than that. According to nationaltoday.com, while many have the Chinese to thank for its many exports in teas, it's actually thanks to a Portuguese woman named Catherine of Braganza who popularized the fine beverage in England. In 1662, she married King Charles II. Her parental gifts, or dowry, included several crates of tea, which she continued to drink every day in the UK. The drink was quickly adopted by the royals and aristocrats around England and eventually led to what they now know as tea time. For more evidence and background history, check out nationaltoday.com for more info. That's all we have today, folks. Thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode of Nac Edition. I'm your host, Wyatt McCann. We'll see you next week.